Advisory services are offered through Apex Financial Group, LLC. Ken Reeves and his guests provide general information, not individually targeted personalized advice, and are not liable for the usage of information discussed. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles should not be considered investment advice or a recommendation to buy or sell any of these financial vehicles. This information should also not be considered tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a professional in the fields of tax, legal, accounting, or investments regarding the applicability of this information for their situation. Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to securities or investment advisory products. No information presented today should be acted upon without meeting with a qualified and licensed professional.
Hello everyone, this is Ken Reeves. Well, coming up today, we'll discuss some of the biggest retirement planning concerns and how to worry less in retirement. We'll also discover how to alleviate stress and not overreact to things out of our control, and how to be proactive when the time comes to prepare for retirement. Join us on this week's Retirement Max Radio.
Uncover retirement concepts you need to know.
I had people come up and ask me on a scale from 1 to 10, I thought I was a 9, and I realized I was actually a 2 or a 1.
Understand the process and challenges of retirement planning.
This is your income. This is what you're doing for the rest of your life.
A successful retirement doesn't happen by accident.
I really like solving problems. It's sort of like solving puzzles. Sometimes some of these plans are sort of like a jigsaw puzzle.
Welcome in to Retirement Max Radio with Ken Reeves.
Welcome into Retirement Max Radio. Your host is Ken Reeves. You can find Ken at Apex Financial Group, and that group, over 32 years experience helping hundreds of their clients get ready for their retirement. Ken is a member of the NEA, the National Ethics Association, RFC, Registered Financial Consultant, has an A+ rating Better Business Bureau. He's a certified annuity specialist and also Social Security and Medicare specialist. I'm Morgan Patrick, consumer advocate, each and every week here on Retirement Max Radio. We go back and forth on so many different topics when it comes to retirement planning. And if you learn anything from this show, you have to have a plan as you move towards retirement. Just having a portfolio, maybe a invested portfolio, feel good about it, but that is not a retirement plan. We're going to talk more about it as we move through the program. So it's no secret that the topic of actual planning in and of itself can be overwhelming when it comes to your retirement. And there are so many factors to consider. And despite, whatever route you end up taking, the final destination remains the same for all of us. Again, we all have concerns. Now, the final destination is a lifetime of guaranteed retirement income. That's what we want. Well, the concerns, let's break down a few of those. And these are common ones they encountered by folks on the way to their retirement, but we also have some solutions. So you're trying to get from point A to point B. Point A is kind of where you are now. Point B would be, yes, your retirement. So author of Don't Worry, Retire Happy, we know this guy. He is a retirement planning guru, Tom Hegna, and he has no problem exploring the many concerns that come with retirement planning. So let's hear what some of those concerns are.
Well, of all the risks in retirement, and there's market risk, there's inflation, there's taxes, there's long-term care, there's sequence of returns risk, withdrawal rate risk. There's a lot of risks. But the number one risk is longevity risk, because as you said, it's not just a risk. It multiplies all the other risks. See, the longer you live, the more likely the stock market is going to crash. The longer you live, the more likely you're going to take too much money out. The longer you live, the more likely you'll see inflation, the more likely you'll see your taxes go up, and the more likely you're going to need long-term care. And so what the PhDs who study retirement say is, in order to have an optimal retirement, you must take that longevity risk off the table.
All right, that's Tom Hegna, again, retirement planning guru. We have clips from Tom all the time, Ken, and it's always just about being prepared. And we're talking about the big concerns for pre-retirees and retirees. Just your thoughts on his initial comment.
Well, obviously, the one that resonates with me, the most that he really talks about and everything is longevity, right? And how long are we going to live? And only the good Lord knows that day, and so we see it as such a concern with people when they come in and, they want to know. One of the big questions is, do I have enough to last me through retirement, Morgan? I mean, there's it's obviously a big concern because we don't know if we're going to, pass and go be with the Lord when we're 80 or at the ripe old age of 100, 101. And a lot of people might think, man, I just don't think I can do that. But look at medical technology and how it's advanced and, and look at, 40 years ago what the lifespan was compared to today, right? So, I mean, there are some concerns going into retirement. This is being one of the bigger ones. Morgan, we see several, people each week when they come in and they want to know, do I have enough money? How much do I need to save in order to retire correctly, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of these questions, Morgan, they depend on your lifestyle, right? They depend on what you want your retirement to look like. There's so many factors, and as we talk about, there's just no cookie cutter approach. This is why planning is so important, and having this plan that fits you specifically.
I mean, think about it, folks. I mean, if you're hearing some of these questions that Ken already threw at us, you probably don't have a plan. Do I have enough money? Have I saved enough so I can retire? I mean, you're basically flying blind if you're asking yourself these questions. But look, if you haven't started planning, they're fair questions. But there's going to be an opportunity to get on the calendar with Apex Financial Group, meet with Ken Reeves and his team, and see if you are on track for your retirement. Now, being on track is one thing, but you need to be planning. If you just have that portfolio, that's not a plan within itself. So you really need to kind of sit down and map this out. But again, big concerns for pre-retirees and those that are nearing retirement. That first one, have I saved enough to last me through retirement? Not just to retirement, but through retirement. How many times, Ken, have we talked about the number one fear? The number one fear is what?
Running out of money.
Yeah. I mean, it's the fuel in the tank.
It is.
That's what's going to get you to the finish line. You got to make sure you're planning for it. Concern number 2, let's talk about this one. Do I have the right financial advisor? This is a big one.
It is. And what's really funny, Morgan, is I actually had somebody come in the office a couple of weeks ago, and they actually asked me a comparison to some of our competitors in town. And it's really one of the first time anybody's come directly and asked me that. So this is a good chance to talk about it on the show.
Yeah.
And, because everybody's different and everybody has, different personalities. And, the one thing that I do tell people, if something like this were to come up is it's a relationship, building process. Who do you feel comfortable with? But once you meet with your advisor, whoever that may be, after your visit, ask yourself a few questions. So, what do I think about the questions that he or she may have asked me? Do you believe that they dug in deep enough to find out what my true concerns were? Did they offer me a structured income plan? Did they offer help, to make decisions on Social Security? That they want to help you create a Social Security plan and make sure that plan was most efficient, for you and your family? Did they ask you if you had any questions going through this process and what some of those concerns about, what your discussion were? So, again, when we talk about, financial advisors and planners in this business, and understanding if you have the right one really boils down to you, the feeling that you get. But, as we pointed out, we do have several bullet points that if they're not asking you the right questions, and if they just want to take, some of your assets and compile them into theirs, probably not the right person for you. You want a structured income plan and have a roadmap, as we talk about all the time, this GPS, this system to get you from point A to point B when the paychecks stop. You want to be sure that these paychecks never end.
I tell you, having a plan, having that ease of mind as you move towards retirement. Again, we're going over today this portion of Retirement Max Radio with Ken Reeves, just the big concerns for the pre-retirees. You're headed towards retirement. These are the big, thought balloons that'll pop up in people's heads. Have I saved enough to last me through retirement? That's a big one. If you're planning, if you're working with a professional and you're mapping it out, you're going to know. You're also going to know if you've still got work to do, right? So having that portfolio without a plan, you're kind of flying blind. But sitting down and mapping things out, you're going to be in a better state, right? Emotionally, as you move towards retirement. So concern number 2, do I have the right financial advisor? This is huge. You have to be comfortable. There has to be a trust there. You need to start it off with just a dialogue where you're talking back and forth. Let's go over some of the questions, Ken, basically that you would ask when people come in and they sit down in front of you, just so people can kind of jot these down. These are things that they can ask an advisor.
Sure. So, one of them is, do you have a plan for retirement, or do you need one created? So, you need to know this, right? And again, another one is, do you have a budget for retirement, and do you need to amend your budget if you have one that's in existence? So, we talk about Morgan a lot. We have this pre-retirement budget and this post-retirement budget, and you need to know where both of them stand. And if they don't have a way to analyze that, that's a concern, right? You have to see where you're going to be in post-retirement. This is important. We'll talk about it later on the shows. Do you have a tax plan to accompany your current financial plan? We don't like to give Uncle Sam a whole lot of money. We're going to try to minimize that the best we can. And, do you have a legacy plan or an estate plan? And do you have a lifetime income? Another important question, Morgan, is how much risk are you exposed to in your plan right now? So, if this market tanks like it has been all that, we're going up a little bit and we're sort of in this seesaw. Sure. But what if we have another 2008 Morgan coming up? I mean, it could be devastating for somebody, especially if you're, on the precipice of retirement. And, so we don't want to put we want to make sure people are not overexposed, with their investments, and they're not taking too much risk. Right.
I mean, as you get closer to retirement, we talk about this all the time. I mean, you need to walk carefully. You need to move towards retirement, but understand that, your window for recovery is narrowing. So you have to be aware of that. Make sure you have it in your plan. Last concern we have, we'll hit this real quick. And this is the one that a lot of people, they really don't think about, but you have to be open-minded because things do change. I mean, it changes constant. And when it comes to retirement, things are going to impact you. So you need to have that open mind. Should I change course?
Well, I can imagine this is a pretty important conversation, and it stands to offer clarity to folks, preparing for retirement without a plan, that it's been updated to reflect their current circumstances, situations of goals, et cetera. Am I in the ballpark with that?
I mean, think about that. I mean, that's the question you want to know. Am I in the ballpark? You got to be able to sit down and talk about your situation. Folks, the opportunity is here to meet with Ken Reeves and his team at Apex Financial Group. Again, over 32 years experience helping their clients get ready for retirement. So, Ken, we've got 5 positions. What's going to happen for these 5 lucky callers?
Well, if you're concerned about retirement savings and looking for expert guidance to combat you through, the latest economic challenges, look no further. Apex Financial Group is here to offer you a comprehensive retirement planning solution tailored to your specific needs. We understand the financial uncertainties faced by pre-retirees and retirees today, so with our extensive experience and expertise, we can help you navigate through these concerns and provide you with a solid income plan and ensure financial stability for the rest of your life. Take the first steps towards securing your financial future. Schedule a free consultation with me, Ken Reeves, and during this personalized session, we'll analyze your current financial situation and outline a roadmap to achieving your retirement goals. Morgan, how can they schedule a visit?
I've got it right here. Here's the number to call. Again, 5 positions, no cost, no obligation, no pressure, 205-997-2777. That's 205-997-2777. Again, 5 positions, appointments for next week. They will go fast. You can call 205-997-2777 or text the word plan to that very same number, 205-997-2777. When we return on Retirement Max Radio, some folks tend to react emotionally to stressful, overwhelming, and other life-changing topics, and they feel out of control. The same can be said about retirement planning. We're going to talk about it coming up next.
At Apex Financial Group, we believe in better. A better way to invest, a better way to serve you, and a better result. Our process begins with us listening. Take advantage of our complimentary retirement strategy session by calling Ken Reeves, host of Retirement Max Radio, at 205-997-2777. 205-997-2777.
Bad money habits.
If bad money habits constrain your financial progress, it's time to alter your behavior. Here's another bad money habit to break.
Thinking you'll win it big in the lottery. It would be nice, and we can certainly dream, but if you think about it, is there really any need to buy more than one Powerball ticket? Here are the odds of winning the big prize in Powerball. 1 in 292,201,338. So let's say you buy 20 Powerball tickets. You just increased your odds 1 to 20 in 292 million. The odds of finding a pearl in an oyster shell are just 1 in 12,000. You're way more likely to date a supermodel, be crushed by a meteorite, be elected president, or become an astronaut than to win the big lottery prize. It's not even close. So while it can be fun and people do win, it certainly can't be your retirement plan.
Retirement Max Radio, hosted by Ken Reeves, Apex Financial Group. If you're listening in Birmingham, Gadsden, Montgomery, Huntsville, it's always about retirement here on Retirement Max Radio. And Apex Financial Group, over 32 years experience helping hundreds of their clients get ready for retirement. Ken Reeves, a member of the NEA, the National Ethics Association. He's an RFC, Registered Financial Consultant, A-plus rating, Better Business Bureau. He's a certified annuity specialist, also Social Security and Medicare specialist. I'm Morgan Patrick, consumer advocate. And here on the show, we talk the retirement topics, but we also give you an opportunity to take action. If you have any questions about where you are in your planning process, maybe you haven't started planning or you're in the middle of something and you need a second opinion, we open up 5 positions on the calendar with Ken Reeves for the upcoming week, and these are exclusive for our radio and podcast listeners. So when you hear us give out the phone number, grab one of those appointments. Again, they're no cost, no obligation, no pressure. So folks tend to make emotional decisions about their money. Makes sense, right? Retirement planning is certainly no exception. Now, people will react emotionally or a knee-jerk reaction to situations that they encounter short-term, unaware, and unintentionally, really, resulting in major issues in the long haul, if you look at the bigger picture. So, now that we can talk about it, how can folks better plan for retirement in ways that are proactive as opposed to, the famous word, reactive? Okay? So think about this, folks. There are a lot of things going on. So Ken, just off the top of your head, biggest concerns, you want to be proactive, not reactive.
Well, Morgan, you can't control inflation, market volatility, gas prices, but you can take steps to control how long your money will last in retirement. So you can create an income floor that will protect you during retirement. We all know what happened in 2008 with the market dropping at 48%, right? I mean, Morgan, just think about those folks that were close to retirement when that happened. Think about how devastating it was for them and how being prepared for the unknown, that's what this planning that we talk about all the time, that's why it's so important, because we don't know when there's going to be a next 2008. And inevitably it's going to happen, right? But with so many people right now, and 10,000 baby boomers a day, they're right there at the door of retirement and they're retiring every day. What's going to happen, especially in this economy right now, with the feds doing their thing and all the administration, mumbo jumbo that's going along, we're fixing to come up into an election year. We just don't know. Right now, we certainly don't think that the market is fixing to boom, right? So we want to be sure that we have a plan that can protect the assets that we already have.
I mean, think about it. You're being proactive as opposed to reactive. Now, there are a couple of things, I shouldn't say a couple of things. There are a number of things that are come your way as you are planning for retirement, and things you need to really be aware of, and also how you're going to handle them. It's a big deal. If you wait to the last minute and you react, it can really put some damage to your retirement. So let's go over some of these. Got a few of them. When it comes to legacy, Ken, gifting money to your kids. I mean, again, this is a big one.
It is. So, before you book that cruise for the entire family, or give your child a down payment for a home, make sure you can afford to do it. So there's a couple of responses. You have a reactive response and a proactive response. And, so Morgan, to be reactive, is feeling pressure, a sense of obligation, to support grown children and using your retirement account, to finance their lifestyle. Not everybody's name's Hunter Biden. I hate to say that, but then you have your proactive response, Morgan. So there's nothing wrong with gifting your children, grandchildren, or great grandchildren money, but you have to learn to put yourself first. So once you're certain that you have funds, that you need to live comfortably in retirement, well, then you can revisit this topic, right? So Morgan, I had somebody come in the office one time, and I was sort of blown away with we're talking about this. I sort of, as we enter this, we're talking about booking a cruise for the entire family. Morgan, I actually had somebody do that, and that's what they wanted to do. The problem is it was going to eat up their entire retirement account in order to do this. And I mean, there was like 30 people going on this cruise.
Wow.
That was. And I didn't know what to say to the individual, but and honestly, we obviously didn't build a plan because they didn't think they needed it. And they just wanted to live off of Social Security alone after that. So that is not a proactive plan.
Again, folks, I mean, talking out these different scenarios and understanding that, your retirement and that fear of running out of money once you get into retirement, it's a real thing. You need to make sure that your plan has you covered. It's like that analogy we often use, Ken, where we're flying on the plane and we hit turbulence. And, the instructions are when the mask comes out of the ceiling, what do you do first? You take care of yourself.
That's right.
And then you help others. Same thing goes for retirement. We understand that gifting money to your kids is very important to you, but you need to make sure that you're going to be okay, not just to retirement, but through retirement. And then, it's about the kids. And that all comes within a plan. Here's another one, Ken. And this is one that a lot of people don't think about because when you get into retirement, man, you're excited, right? It's the go-go years. You've worked your entire life. Now you want to travel. Now maybe you want to downsize the house, move closer to the grandkids. Maybe you're going to join the golf club or the hunting club. These are all things that have been on your plate. You've been eyeing that prize at the end of your working life and you're ready for it. But you haven't thought about this. Long-term care, but also healthcare planning needs to be a part of what you're doing.
It certainly does, Morgan. And at least, we bring it up in all of our conversations and all of our visits because we want to be sure that everybody, is taken care of. And I think a lot of people don't understand, some of the implications of what long-term care can cost their retirement plan, right? So, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Resources, they estimated that upward of 70% of Americans aged 65 or older would require some kind of long-term care in their lifetime. So if something like this happens, panicking in the event of emergency and having, limited options to financially support yourself or your significant other in the event of emergency, that's a reactive response. What we want to do is be proactive, and we want to add long-term care coverage to retirement savings plans, or at least having a discussion, to make sure we're on the right path. Now, this may be setting aside money and building, that amount on your own, or adding a long-term care insurance policy, or working with us to build a tax-efficient system, for your future that could be implemented either through life insurance or annuities. And Morgan, a lot of people don't really realize that where most of these annuity companies now, at least fixed index annuities, they have riders that does not cost you anything, that in the event of a long-term care, they will double your income. So let's say you're making $30,000 a year and you have 2 ADLs or activities of daily living that a doctor deems that you can't do, you can activate these riders. So it's not a replacement for long-term care, but it's another part of the discussion, Morgan, on how certain products and services help in retirement plans to help assist with healthcare in retirement.
Think about it. We use the analogy of the puzzle, having the pieces to put your retirement together, and it's going to be unique to you. Your puzzle pieces. And maybe you're going to talk about legacy. and that'll be a puzzle piece. Maybe you're going to talk about that income plan. That's going to be a puzzle piece, and it'll be a big one. Then what about long-term care and healthcare planning? That could be several different puzzle pieces in how you're going to handle it. But that's why you get together with professionals, sit down and map out your retirement plan. Right now, we're just talking about being proactive instead of reactive when it comes to your retirement. We've talked about already, gifting money to your kids, that legacy. Make sure you take care of yourself first and then plan it out. Long-term care and healthcare planning, big. As we age, we're going to need this. We don't think about it as we enter into retirement, but you really need to plan for this because most likely the percentages tell us we are going to need it. This next one, absolute retirement killer, and that's high interest debt.
It is. So lingering, or new debt that can it just blow your retirement, savings out of the water. It may have been easy to manage when you were collecting a paycheck, but it certainly can hurt your cash flow and lifestyle, when you're on a fixed income. So, a reactive response would be paying all your debt, prioritizing, this over saving for your future. But a proactive response to this situation and debt would be speaking with a professional who can explain the difference between good and bad debt and how to make that plan work for you. This again is something we go over, and especially debt is one of them. And Morgan, it might be a little bit uncomfortable to some people to talk about their debt, but it really is a part of that plan. And basically, when we build these plans, when clients come in, it's garbage in and garbage out. So as long as you give us all the goods, we can help give you a solid plan moving forward, including some of this debt elimination.
All right. Well, we've got spots on the calendar, 5 of them to be exact. Kim, what's going to happen for these 5 lucky callers?
With expertise in financial planning, tax reduction strategies, and insurance, we're able to recommend products, services, and strategies to maximize your financial success. Investments have an impact on taxes, and taxes have an impact on investment. Why give Uncle Sam more than he deserves? Managing one aspect without the view of another means you could be paying too much. Our approach enables us to look at each person's unique financial situation and make recommendations tailored to their specific needs. You'll see for yourself how this approach to planning can help make a difference for you and your family. Morgan, how can they schedule a visit?
Got a number. Here it is, 205-997-2777. That number again, 205-997-2777. This is about your retirement. This is a great way to test drive. Get to know Ken Reeves and Apex Financial Group. Again, 205-997-2777. And if you like to text the word plan to that same number and grab one of those 5 appointments. 205-997-2777. When we return, we have some proactive strategies. We'll continue with that you can apply to your retirement plan, and you can do that right now. Stick around.
He's letting the clock run out on his Social Security to age 70 for maximum benefits. And here comes the Roth conversion. He's locked in for income for life. He's got some outstanding coaching with that annuity plan. He's created his own pension as well, and it looks like he's going to go all the way.
Play your best retirement game. Call Ken Reeves of Apex Financial Group, 205-997-2777, 205-997-2777.
Retirement Max Radio with your host with the most, Ken Reeves, Apex Financial Group. You can check them out online. Great resource website, apexfg.com. So if you're listening in Birmingham, Gadsden, Montgomery, Huntsville, it's always about retirement. And again, we're going to give you an opportunity to get on the counter with Ken Reeves and Apex Financial Group and put that 32 years of experience with that group to work for you, and it's no cost. No obligation, no pressure. We have 5 appointments, and we will open those up here shortly. Ken is a member of the NEA, National Ethics Association. He's an RFC, Registered Financial Consultant, A+ rating, Better Business Bureau. He's also a certified annuity specialist and Social Security and Medicare specialist. I'm Morgan Patrick, consumer advocate. I try to drive the bus every now and then, keep it between the ditches. We always talk about retirement. We have some fun with you, but this is a serious subject. You need to plan for your retirement. So proactive strategies, we teased it, so let's talk about it. Now, proactive steps that folks can take to maintain that positive path in their planning journey for retirement. What do you got?
Oh gosh, this could be long, Morgan. So you might have to interrupt me. But maintaining a positive trajectory in retirement planning, it requires proactive steps to ensure long-term financial security. Here's some recommendations we'll go through. So one, we're going to start early. The earlier you begin planning for retirement, the more time your investments have to grow. So you want to take advantage of compounding interest and start saving as soon as possible. The next thing is just to set clear goals. You want to determine your retirement goals, such as what kind of lifestyle you desire and the age at which you really want to retire. So having a specific objective will help you create a targeted financial plan. Next, the big one, Morgan, we talk about a lot is creating a budget. So you want to establish a budget that includes, saving for retirement as a priority, tracking your expenses, identifying areas, that you can cut back, and allocating a portion of your retirement towards retirement savings consistently. And if you're still working, you want to maximize those retirement contributions. Put as much as you can. You want to diversify investments, monitor and adjust your portfolio, and manage debt wisely. And, again, we just talked about, Morgan, you want to plan for healthcare costs, maintain an emergency fund. So it's vital to have an emergency fund built up. You don't want to be hung out, to dry or have to dip into your retirement savings, if the air condition goes out, because Lord knows, it's summertime and it can be really, really expensive, Morgan, to get some of that done. So these are some steps that you can do. So remember, planning is a long-term endeavor that requires consistency, and adaptability. So by taking these proactive steps, you can increase your chances of maintaining a proactive trajectory toward a secure and fulfilling retirement.
Look, we get excited, right? We're headed towards retirement. We're going to, be wrapping up our job. We think about, all those picture postcards, the ads we see of people enjoying their retirement, spending time with their grandkids, taking those trips, joining that golf club, as I like to say, or maybe the hunting club, as Ken likes. I like to hit golf balls. He does that too, but he likes to shoot stuff. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's your retirement. Do what you love. But at the same time, make sure you're planning for all the what ifs. Think about that. That conversation will be one of the most important conversations you have when you finally do sit down and you start mapping this stuff out. Ken's going to give you an opportunity to get on the calendar with him, and you can have these types of conversations because you're going to talk about the basics, that lifetime income. You're going to talk about taxes. You're going to talk about how you're going to handle Social Security, but you're also going to talk about what if scenarios. And that's when you really get down to the crux of it. It is a retirement plan. So, and this is something else you have to remember, Ken, and a lot of people forget. If you're in a 401k, if you're in an IRA, that's pre-tax. So what happens when you hit retirement and you start making withdrawals?
Taxes are a big consideration when you begin withdrawing money with your retirement. If it's a traditional 401k or IRA, withdrawals are taxed at ordinary income. So, ignoring the tax consequences until it's too late, you might learn the hard way. So by considering the tax implications in advance, you risk facing higher tax liabilities and potentially depleting your retirement savings faster than you might have anticipated. So this reactive approach can lead to financial stress and limited options for managing taxes during retirement.
So let's talk about maybe a proactive response. What is so appealing about the Roth?
So moving some of your retirement savings into a Roth, you can convert those from your 401k into a Roth 401k. So a proactive response to the tax consequences of retirement draws involves very strategic planning, Morgan, to minimize future tax burden. So one approach is to consider is moving some of these savings that we talked to a Roth IRA. Unlike traditional retirement accounts, Roth IRAs offer tax-free withdrawals in retirement as long as certain conditions are met. Now, by gradually converting a portion of your traditional 401ks or IRAs into a Roth IRA over time, you can diversify your retirement savings and potentially reduce your future tax liability. Now, another proactive step is to convert a traditional 401k into a Roth 401k if your employer offers this option. So similar to a Roth IRA, the Roth 401k allows for tax-free withdrawals in retirement.
Tell you folks, having a plan, being up on what your options are, and being open-minded. And if you have to pivot at a certain point in retirement planning, you're working with a professional that you trust, you're moving towards your retirement date. And again, you have that plan. You have your puzzle. You have the pieces that are fitting together, and you're feeling good about it. You're confident as you move towards retirement. There's going to be an opportunity to get on the calendar with Ken Reeves, Apex Financial Group, and these 5 appointments we're about to open up are no cost, no obligation, simply no pressure. Kind of see where you are in your retirement planning process. And again, maybe you haven't started, and that's okay. There are a lot of you out there that are probably sitting on a nice portfolio and, you think you got it. That's it, man. When's my retirement date? I'm just going to go off into the sunset and enjoy. Having a portfolio is a great starting point. That is not a retirement plan. Make sure you map this out to the nth detail. And there's a lot that goes into it. So again, opportunity, get on the calendar with Ken and his team at Apex Financial Group, talk about your situation. Again, proactive strategies. So remember, pre-tax income, if you're in a 401k and an IRA traditional, it's going to be coming out once you start drawing down. And then again, the Roth. It's something to consider. Obviously, converting, there are going to be tax implications. You're going to pay them, but on the back end, that is tax-free. But again, these are conversations you're going to have. So here's another question for you. Final concern that you have on the list and how folks, they tend to respond to both proactively and reactively. Investments, they just aren't keeping up with inflation.
Well, inflation can truly erode your wealth, right? So diminishing purchasing power isn't the only problem high inflationary environments. Your investments have to work harder just to hold their value in the long haul. Morgan, as we talk about these reactive and proactive responses, a reactive response to investments not keeping up with inflation is to become too overwhelmed and make impulse decisions, such as pulling out investments prematurely. This reactive approach can be detrimental to long-term financial growth, as it may result in missed opportunities for your investments to recover and generate the proper returns. Now, here's what a proactive response looks like, Morgan. So a proactive response to investments not keeping up with inflation involves taking the right step to optimize your investment strategies, and seek professional guidance during this time. So, here's some actions that you can take, listener. So, one, you want to review your investment portfolio. So you want to conduct a comprehensive review, of your investment portfolio to assess its current performance, and make sure it aligns with your financial goals. This can help identify areas where adjustments, they just might be needed. Next is a rebalancing process. So if your investments are not keeping up with inflation, it may be necessary to rebalance your portfolio. Rebalancing involves, adjusting your investment allocation to ensure they align with your desired asset allocation and risk tolerance. The next thing you can do is consider inflation-protected investments. So inflations can erode the value of traditional investments, but they're assets specifically designed to provide protection, against inflation. So you might want to consider including investments like Treasury inflated protective securities or TIPS. And this is the more important one, Morgan, as we talk about so much. You want to seek professional advice. So consulting, with an advisor or investment professional that can provide, valuable insights and expertise. We can help analyze your current portfolio. We can recommend adjustments, and we can offer guidance and investment strategies that may be better suited to combat inflation. So we can also help you understand, the trade-offs for this between the risk and reward and potential returns in your portfolio.
So important to have those portfolio checkups, just kind of see where you are and how that portfolio is doing. Set it and forget it, not the way to do it when it comes to retirement planning. Working with somebody that you trust, somebody that you can go over, ask these types of questions, talk about what-if scenarios. And if it's time to pivot, change direction, it might just be slight, but maybe that opportunity is going to be in front of you. You need to work with a professional. Now's the time to get an appointment with Apex Financial Group, meet with Ken Reeves and his team, see where you are in your planning process. Ken, we've got the 5 positions. What's going to happen for the next 5 callers?
Well, if you're 10 years or less from retirement, give us a call. Seeking professional help during these times is so vitally important. Call now, and you'll be one of the lucky 5 listeners to get on my calendar. We'll put a customized plan together that will ensure that your retirement lasts as long as you do. Don't settle for cookie-cutter plans that big box firms offer. No 2 plans are the same. We don't say we have the secret sauce or use any fancy buzzwords. We just build each plan just for you, period. Why would you trust your retirement to a plan that only fits a handful of people? We will do an in-depth analysis that will help determine if you're on the right track for a successful retirement, or we can determine if you may fall short. All of this is no cost, no obligations. We're here to educate and help you obtain your financial goals and improve your retirement picture. Morgan, how can they schedule a visit?
All right, got a phone number for you. Call it right now, 205-997-2777. That's 205-997-2777, or you can text the word PLAN to that very same number, 205-997-2777. 5 positions on the calendar for the next week with Ken Reeves and his team at Apex Financial Group, and they're no cost, no obligation, simply no pressure. 205-997-2777, or text PLAN to that same number, 205-997-2777. Coming up next on Retirement Max Radio, well, we all have regrets. You remember those outfits you wore to picture day when you were in high school? Yeah, those are regrets. But we're going to talk about regrets when it comes to retirement planning. That's all coming up next.
At Apex Financial Group, we believe in better. A better way to invest, a better way to serve you, and a better result. Our process begins with us listening. Take advantage of our complimentary retirement strategy session by calling Ken Reeves, host of Retirement Max Radio, at 205-997-2777, 205-997-2777.
It's your go-go years, so let's get going with another retirement road trip.
It's time to visit the music of our youth, the music of our first love and cruising, the first time we... Oh, the censors got me there. We're heading to Cleveland. Cleveland rocks, Cleveland rocks. To the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The idea was born in the early 80s, the foundation in 83, but a permanent home not until 86. Cities considered were Philadelphia, home of American Bandstand, Memphis for Sun Studios and all the greats of rock and roll who recorded there, Detroit from Motown, along with Cincinnati, New York, and Cleveland. Cleveland lobbied hard. The city pledged $65 million in public money for the construction. They also cited WJW DJ Alan Freed, who coined the term rock and roll. And the winner is... Cleveland! Probably more to do with the money they pledged. The museum wasn't dedicated until 1995. Your visit includes a walk through the history of the music genre from the early years, the 60s, coexistence with disco in the 70s, and the evolution through the 80s, 90s, 2000s to today. It's not dead, just a little more underground now. The first group of inductees, no surprise, Elvis, James Brown, Little Richard, Fats Domino, Ray Charles, Chuck Berry, Sam Cooke, the Everly Brothers, Buddy Holly, and Jerry Lee Lewis. The Beatles didn't get in until 88. Led Zeppelin 95, Eagles 98. In the last couple of years, we saw Bon Jovi, Def Leppard, Pearl Jam, Stevie Nicks, and others inducted. There's tons of rock and roll memorabilia to see, from James Brown's jumpsuit to Elvis's custom motorcycle. 7 levels here, so set aside some time and have lunch at the All Access Cafe. If your retirement advisor rocks, then enjoy that lifestyle set up for you and hit the road to the 216, the Forest City, and what many call the rock and roll capital of the world, Cleveland, and rock on.
Retirement Max Radio, hosted by Ken Reeves, Apex Financial Group. If you're listening in Birmingham, Gadsden, Montgomery, Huntsville, it is always about retirement here on Retirement Max Radio. It's about planning. It's about getting ready for what is going to be our final chapter. That is retirement. Make sure you have a plan. Make sure it's customized to you. There's going to be an opportunity to get on the calendar with Apex Financial Group, meet with Ken Reeves and his team, see where you are in your planning process. And again, most people are in one of two boats. That first boat, haven't started planning, you're a procrastinator, we get it. There are a lot of you out there. This is an opportunity to kick the tires, get to know Ken and the team, and again, start the process of planning. And then there's the other boat, and that is, you're halfway down the path, right? You're halfway down that river to retirement, and you are confused. You feel a little lost. Maybe the feedback, communication just not there with your current advisor or advisory team. Now it is time for that second opinion. We have 5 positions remaining on the calendar for this week with Ken Reeves at Apex Financial Group, and these positions are no cost. These are appointments, no obligation, and simply no pressure. It's a real opportunity to get started or get that second opinion. Stay tuned. We'll open those up here in just a little bit. So learning from our retirement past, what they always said back in school, if you don't learn from history, what? You're doomed to repeat it. So we have some regrets from retirees of the past. Let's talk about them. Let's take some notes and let's not make the same mistakes. Okay. Ken, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. First regret. Not planning ahead of retirement. People just got started late or not started at all.
Well, Morgan, retirement planning professionals, they do assert that this is the most significant mistake made by employees is failing to develop a financial strategy for their retirement years. So, as we don't mean to beat it in everybody's head, but yet we do mean to beat it in everybody's head. You need a plan, right? And, working and saving, into an IRA or a 401k, that's not a plan. You need a plan on how, to make that money last the rest of your life. And, so not planning ahead for retirement certainly is a big mistake. But, as we talk about, Morgan, it's certainly never too late to get started.
Well, and we often use, we paint that picture of, having that roadmap, maybe plugging it into GPS. It's your retirement GPS. You don't just show up to retirement. You're going to plug in the coordinates if you're going on a trip, and it's going to take you the best route, right, to your destination. And your destination in retirement, it's your golden years. And to have a map, to have a plan to get you there, working with a professional like a guide, right, to get you to your retirement, that brings that feeling of just peace of mind. The stress just kind of falls off your back. And it can be very stressful, but if you're working with professionals that do this on a daily basis, they can guide you, they can advise you when it comes to your retirement. You're going to get that opportunity to get on the counter with Ken Reeves at Apex Financial Group and start that process or get that second opinion. So regrets that we're trying to learn from. These are retirees, and these are some of the top regrets. So not planning ahead of retirement, that's a big one. The next one we've already kind of talked about today, Ken, and that is just underestimating how long you're going to live.
Yeah, and because as we talked about, we don't know that day, right? So, outliving your retirement savings is certainly a real concern with just about everybody we speak to. Living longer than expected can easily deplete your savings, if not completely wipe it out. There's a couple of things you can do. You can, just for our listeners right now, is delaying the start of Social Security benefits, is one strategy. And by delaying, past full retirement age and going to age 70, you can get 7 to 8% a year. So, again, going back to this plan and the way it works is, so we're going to make sure that you have income that'll last as long as you do. And we want to make sure that if there's some of that income left, that it goes to the proper beneficiaries, So, underestimating life expectancy. Yeah, we don't know that day, Morgan, but, I had a couple come in and they're a great couple. And one of them's mother is going to turn 97 this fall, Morgan, and father just turned 100. And, so they have longevity, in their family. So we want to be sure, some people that do have longevity, right? But as we've talked about so many times, we are living longer and we don't want to underestimate that life expectancy.
Retirement Max Radio, Ken Reeves is your host. We're going over regrets of retirees, things that they've done that they wish they would have done differently. So not planning ahead of retirement, that is a regret. Underestimating what your life expectancy is. Look at just the medical advances. Ken talks about it all the time. We are living longer. You need to plan for a longer runway.
Long time.
Yeah. You don't want to run out of cash when you're in retirement. So that takes a plan. What about this next regret? Not diversifying the investments. A lot of people get fixated, fascinated with a particular investment, but they're not diversified enough.
Well, not diversifying your investment portfolio is one of the biggest retirement mistakes that you can make, and you might regret that forever. So investing, a significant amount or significant portion of your net worth in a single asset can lead to an unfavorable consequence. Recent occurrences such as, the decline in the stock market, during 2008, in that crisis, and look at the housing meltdown, leading to a crash in real estate prices, illustrate this risky picture, you need to keep in your head. Now, just think about the people, Morgan, that were with Enron. All these people lost all their wealth overnight practically.
I tell you, having a plan, being ready, understanding that if you are diversified, yes, you may take a few hits, but it is not going to be devastating. If you are heavily in one area and that area goes to, as the Enron example was used, I mean, you're not just in trouble. I mean, you're in dire straits when it comes to your retirement. So make sure you're diversified. We're learning from retirees of the past, and they've got regrets, and we're going over them. Not planning ahead of retirement. Hard to believe there are a lot of people out there that just have their portfolios, but really no plan. And then underestimating how long you're going to live, because guess what, folks? That is going to totally change your retirement picture, and you need to project out and add some years. I mean, plan for those what-if scenarios. What if I live to 100? You better plan for it. Not diversifying the investments is another big one. You don't want everything in one basket because that could absolutely burn you. And what about the next two? I'm going to lump these together, Ken. What if I retire too early or I wait too late?
Well, again, I'm going to go back to the word PLAN, Morgan. And so if you have a plan in place, this is not going to happen, at least in theory, right? So, if you retire prematurely, without having a proper plan in place and basically having a retirement budget, you may actually deplete your retirement savings if you draw down too fast, or if you're not pursuing the right interest during your retirement investing years. Retiring too late, though, it's possible to experience regret. If you have dedicated your entire life towards preparing for retirement, and then delays enjoying it for too long. So for those that have planned accordingly or are financially able to retire, it's essential to consider the potential disadvantages of delaying retirement, and remaining in the workforce. So you don't want to retire too early, and you don't want to retire too late. So we want to find that perfect time for you, and that's why having a proper plan in place is so vitally important.
Well, it's got to be custom too. I mean, your plan is going to be different from anybody else's. Your puzzle piece is different from anybody else's, and they're going to fit together in a unique way. So you need to have a customized plan. We're going over regrets. We also want to tell you we have 5 more calendar positions for the upcoming week for Ken Reeves and his team. And these appointments are no cost, no obligation, simply no pressure. Kind of see where you are in your process. If you're listening to some of these regrets of retirees past, and maybe you're in one of these boats, you need to come in, get an appointment, talk about your situation. So we've talked about already, again, regrets, not planning ahead of retirement. A lot of people head in there with just the portfolio. Folks, that is not a plan. Underestimating life expectancy. I mean, your runway may be a lot longer. You need to plan for that. Not diversifying your investments and getting burned. If you have everything in one basket, it could be devastating to your retirement. So make sure you're diversified. If you go early into retirement or you go late in retirement, there are ramifications for both. So make sure that's part of your plan. And I want to jump to this one because we've talked about healthcare already on the program. So we don't want to shy away from it now, Ken. So if you're ignoring healthcare expenses, could be a huge regret for you as you move to retirement.
Yeah, Morgan, and I think we all know people. Here's a good example. So take somebody, you have a good retirement plan in place, and then one of the two spouses has a cognitive disease. Well, unfortunately, some of these diseases can last 10 or 15 years, right? And so you have to put yourself in that situation. If that happened to me, how much would that drain some of these healthcare expenses and, the cost of long-term care if you don't have that. And even if your long-term care will last that long. So proper planning is important, and you just can't ignore healthcare expenses as you go into retirement.
Got to learn from other people's mistakes. These are regrets we've gone over today. And look, don't have a regret when it comes to your retirement. Make sure you have a customized plan. We've got an opportunity right now. We have 5 calendar positions with Ken Reeves, Apex Financial Group. Ken, walk us through what's going to happen for these 5 appointments.
So for our listeners, we just want them to take the first step towards financial confidence and peace of mind by scheduling a personalized consultation today. Our team of experienced advisors, we're here to create a customized retirement plan tailored to your needs, incorporating strategies that provide reliable and predictable income for life. During our consultation, we'll conduct a comprehensive analysis of your current financial situation and assess your risk tolerance and stress test your retirement plan to ensure long-term stability. We'll explore the potential benefits of guaranteed lifetime income options, such as annuities, to provide you with that steady income stream regardless of market volatility. Don't let economic uncertainties and market fluctuations derail your retirement dreams. Take control of your financial future and enjoy retirement with confidence. Contact us now and book your visit and discover how guaranteed lifetime income can enhance your retirement plan. Morgan, how can they schedule a visit?
Got a phone number for you. Here it is, 205-997-2777. That number again, 205-997-2777. Or you can text the word plan to that same number, 205-997-2777. Another edition of Retirement Max Radio is in the books. For Ken Reeves, I'm Morgan Patrick. We'll see you on the radio next week.
Advisory services are offered through Apex Financial Group, LLC. Ken Reeves and his guests provide general information, not individually targeted personalized advice, and are not liable for the usage of information discussed. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles should not be considered investment advice or a recommendation to buy or sell any of these financial vehicles. This information should also not be considered tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a professional in the fields of tax, legal, accounting, or investments regarding the applicability of this information for their situation. Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to securities or investment advisory products. No information presented today should be acted upon without meeting with a qualified and licensed professional.